What's up, my beloved y'all? This is your girl Tracey Philippa, and y'all listen. This is not joyride because I'm not in the car, right? But I really wanted to just sit down and get comfy with y'all today as we talk about what's going on in my world. So y'all, stay tuned. All right, y'all. So let's get into this conversation. I have been, oh my God, y'all, this year has started off like, like none other. Started off with me publishing my first book, having an amazing book launch, speaking engagements started coming, and y'all, I am writing again. I am writing again. I had a dynamic trip to Texas. I just have been working, and I can say it now that yours truly is going to be on the My Future Wifey podcast tour with none other than the Terrace Whitfield. And y'all, let me tell you, this is like a dream come true. This is like a dream come true because if you saw my Texas vlog, there's a part that I talk about how his podcast has really blessed my entire life. So y'all listen, when I say God be Godden, he be Godden, and I'm just so grateful for that opportunity. I know that things are just moving in such an upward moving direction for me, and sometimes we get weary in our waiting, and so this episode is actually gonna be called Seasons Change. And I was like, Lord, because I didn't really put out anything to have any guests on my show this week. I've really just been in this place of just honestly trying to listen to God. Last week I conducted my first corporate fast, and I had about 17 girls that had signed up. And y'all, I mean, it's only Wednesday and the fast ended on Saturday. It was a 1-week fast, and it was a breaking poverty fast. And a lot of times when we think about breaking poverty, the first thing that comes to our mind is money. But I knew that there were mindsets, that there were demonic holds, like there was witchcraft, there was all kind of things that actually keep our pockets empty. Y'all, it's just straight up warfare. And I knew this, and so we were doing this prayer call every day at 6 a.m. We had prayer points that we were praying about every day. I was praying over the girls, and I'm just doing all these things. And a lot of times we want to record things like on the victory end of stuff, not so much going through the process. And that's why I kind of hesitated to even, talk about this process, because I was like, God, I'm smack dab in the middle of it. Like, I don't see, the dramatic change in, yet on the outward. Now, most of the change that I've seen, of course, has been inwardly, and that's like the biggest change. And I know that God has to change us on the inside in order for us to be able to accommodate what he wants to give us. And so I knew that it wasn't just, okay, breaking poverty so that we could just have money. It was like, no, I need to break these mindsets. I need to break the way you think about money, the way you look at money. We look at money as something to be consumed, and that's kind of the reason why we don't have any of it, because we look at it so wrong. we look at it like poor people look at money, you know? And I'm like, I knew that that was what God wanted to deliver me from. And so, and so I'm just being here and, you know, trying to be a faithful minister, trying to, you know, keep up with the joy rides, trying to, you know, serve faithfully at my church, being there for my purpose sisters, being a mom, trying to be a business owner, and in all of that, it's like, Lord, I know that I'm about to pivot, and y'all, when I'm telling you, when we are waiting, and we know like things are winding down, we know that things are about to shift, and like you sometimes you feel stuck, and you're like, what am I supposed to be doing right now? Like, I feel like I'm doing everything that you've told me to do. I feel like I'm being obedient. And I know something's happening, but something isn't happening. And so it's like, Lord, like, what's really going on? Like, I don't see it. But I just came to encourage someone. Because all of us, we get to that point where it's like, God, okay, I'm doing the work. I'm doing what you called me to do. And I feel like maybe, you know, and this is the thing, because I know that he's keeping up his end of the bargain. The things that are happening in my life, by all means, I know that God is doing a divine setup in my life. But when you get to the point where you're now frustrated with your present situation, your mind and your spirit has outgrown your present state. Now is the time where frustration sometimes sets in. Y'all, like, I'll be completely open and transparent. It's like, I remember, you know, for the last 2 years, like, my business has been doing a certain amount of money and stuff like that. And I've been good. Like, I've been good. And it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, what is happening? I'm not getting any bad reviews. I'm still posting all the time. I'm still doing everything that I'm supposed to do. I'm still giving out a magnificent product. What is happening? And a lot of times we would get like antsy. But I even know for someone like me, God would literally have to wind me down in order for me to move into my next. Because sometimes we get comfortable. So when things are good in a certain area, then we like to stay in that area. When God is like, no, I don't need you to get comfortable in this place. I need you to start to move. And this started, you know, my journey, like my real faith journey. It's really started at the beginning of 2020. I always tell people, like, I grew up in church, you know what I mean? My parents were both leaders in church and everything, but I always say this one thing, and it's that I was church, but I was never discipled. And so I never really had a personal relationship with God. I never really knew what being a Christian really was. It's just that I was always in church, and I just didn't understand it. And then because, you know, I've gone through a whole lot of trauma and all these different things that have happened in my life, I, you know, chuck up the deuces to church until I found myself married and then going to church with my ex-husband. And then that was a place that never filled me. I never felt at home at that church. That was a church that he went, you know, to as a child. And I was not being fed at that church, and it showed. It showed. And in 2020, you know, while I was, you know, pondering, I was like, I feel like I'm about to get divorced. Like, I know that I don't think I'm going to make it through this year. And I remember having this conversation with one of my dearest cousins. And she was like, it's time for you to focus on your business. And I was somebody, I had a, you know, a government job. I had just built a home. I had a wedding decorating business and all these stuff, but I got that unction to start decorating cakes again. And I was like, okay, Lord, okay, you know, and you still ain't even saved, but you know you're hearing this voice. And so for the entire 2020, I was just binge watching YouTube tutorials on how to decorate cakes and all these different things. And I was investing and I was just buying things. I bought me a brand new fridge. I had bought me my Cricut. I had bought me my edible printer. I was buying everything, not knowing that a year later that would be my only source of income, because in the divorce I ended up, anyway, I'm not gonna go there, but God had told me it was time for me to leave my job, and I did that. And as soon as I did that was when I was able to just go into baking full time. So I had moved back home with my parents, well, my mom, and she had a spare space at the house, and they turned it into a bakery for me. And I remember, like, the first time that I baked at home, I had 7 orders, I remember, and the bakery wasn't really set up yet. So my oven wasn't set up, and only the fridge, and like I didn't have like a countertop or anything like that in there yet. And y'all, I was like trying to tote the people cake from the kitchen to the bakery, bawling, crying, just crying. I was like, how did I get to this place? I had, just built this home, and this home was perfect for what I wanted. It was perfect for recording. It was perfect for all these different things that, that I wanted to do in my life, and everything was just snatched away from me. And for good reason. For good reason. One of the things that God said to me, during this journey was that, Tracey, you found your worth in your job, this house, this marriage. You have made all of them an idol. And for everything that you decide to put above me, I am going to take it from you. And so said, so done. So by 2021, April, I had no job, I had no house, and I had no marriage. And it was like, clearly, like, I robbed the church and, all these stuff. And of course, like, if you have my book, Call from Adultery to Ministry, all of the things that happened around that time as well. And so, yeah, so I was just baking. I was baking, for until now, because I'm still baking now, right? And I know that the time is coming to a close for that as well. I just haven't seen where the next opening is, but I'm walking in faith. And so 2021, I was just binge watching sermons, and I still do to this day. Just binge watching sermons. Though I don't watch TV. And so the only thing I've been watching is either podcasts or sermons. I don't listen to secular music. I don't go to clubs. I don't do any of that. I live a very, very, very disciplined life. And so I've been growing so much in my faith during that time. And, at the beginning of 2022, God, because what I did was I took a leave of absence off the job. I didn't completely leave. But the instruction in 2021 was that at the end of this year, there would be no more of that job for you. And so, January 5th, 2022, I put in my resignation, and I was like, I don't know what this look like, God, but this is what you're telling me to do, so I'm going to do it. Whew. And then he told me to, and I think in the middle of that, I was actually on a 100-day sabbatical from social media, all these different things. I was like on a vegan diet, all these things. So I was like straight up, it was like only me and God. And it was in that time when he said to me, time for you to write the book. And he gave me the name of the book, From Adultery to Ministry. And I was like, whoa, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. And, but that was it. And, but my faith had been built enough to withstand that task. And God has always been so gentle. He is so gentle. He pushes us and all that stuff, but he gives us time to mature and grow into who we need to be in order for us to fulfill the assignments that he has for us. And so that 2022, I was writing this book and going through that process, and just a whole lot more refining, because I had realized that even in the middle, like, as I've been on an abstinent journey for over 2 years now. Amen to me, thank God. Only through God's grace and mercy. But like in the early part of 2022, I found myself still like kind of attracting the same type of guy, and I was like, but God, I haven't I've kept my abstinence for like a year, over a year. Like, why, is like, why am I still attracting the same type of guys? And it was in 2022 when God started to introduce me to deliverance. And I was like, wow, like, I've been saved from 2020, and God has never brought up deliverance with me until 2022. And that just speaks to his kindness and his patience for us. And he waits until we are able to withstand certain things before he starts introducing it to us. And so, I started to do a lot of self-deliverance. This is when I first started to watch Prophet Lovey, and he started to, tell me to kind of study Catherine Coleman and all these different things. And so I was doing that, and I was growing in my faith. I was growing in revelation. I had, like, everything was like moving, I ended up having an absolutely amazing vacation in Costa Rica. I went on like 3 trips that year, and I also, went to Revelation Nights Miami. All this was in 2022. I went to Revelation Nights in Miami to see Prophet Lovey, and that was the first time that I've ever seen that level of exorcism, that I've never seen devils cast out. First of all, I live in the Bahamas, y'all, and ain't much of that is really be going on around here. Ain't really much of that's be going on around here, right? Not on the level that I saw it. And so that was like the first time that I've ever been inside an environment like that, and it was so enticing to me. It was crazy, and I knew God was calling me into that type of ministry. And I'm like, but God, you told me, like, you called me to the marketplace, and so it's like little bits and pieces at a time, and I'm like, God, what am I supposed to be? Like, am I supposed to be a business owner, or am I supposed to be a devil slayer, or am I supposed to be both? So like, and I'm constantly in that tension even today, and so I experienced that, absolutely amazing. And as soon as January hit, the book was published, and I had an amazing launch at a place called Fusion Superplex in Nassau, Bahamas. It was absolutely amazing. My pastor was there, my friends were there. The support was absolutely amazing. One of the news stations actually ended up just being there, and I got to have an interview with them. It was just amazing. And then a few weeks later, I was able to present one of the sermons, or I think that's what we call it, like one of the sermons, a part of a sermon with my pastor while we were doing a single series. And I've been on, like I say, then all of a sudden, like, the podcast and stuff started coming up, being, appearing on different shows started to be a little bit more frequent, and I was still doing joy rides. I've been doing joy rides for about 9-10 months now. And I've just been working, still serving at the church, just doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing, knowing that I'm in a transition. And I'm like, Lord, I feel like I've been in this transition for a little while now, but I also know that it's because he wants to build my character, and he needed to, make sure that I could withstand and everything that he wants to put in my life. And so I've just been absolutely, like, blown away by everything that has been happening. And so I started, like, really getting deep into the faith, and I went to Texas again, like I say, at the beginning of this year, in March, at the end of March, April, and I went to see Prophet Loidos again, Revelation Nights Houston, and y'all, then things just got crazy after that. Like, things just got super crazy. Warfare got crazier, and like me and my friends have just dived, like, I mean, head first into it, because we know, like, hold on, God has given us the keys of dominion for wealth, for marriage, for, you know, business and opportunities and all these different things. And I knew that, listen, we got to get free from every single thing that could possibly hinder us, that could steal our blessings. And so that's why, you know, the fast kind of came up. God was like, you know, come do this fast and everything with the girls. And y'all, I mean, like just even the testimonies and the breakthroughs that are happening every day since the fast. And I'm like, God, you are just absolutely amazing. You are amazing. You are amazing. And so yeah, so like I'm here. I'm still writing. Like, I'm writing, y'all. Like, I'm doing it, and I know that there are a lot of books in me, and I've just been learning some things. Like the day after the fast, because like I said, I watch sermons all the time, right? And so the day after the fast, this gentleman, his name is called Myron Goldman, was the first time that he actually popped up on my YouTube. And you know, I'm used to like Anthony O'Neill and stuff like that, but even though like God was calling me to the marketplace and all this stuff, I knew that ministry was coming first. Almost like ministry was my tithe. Almost like my book was my tithe. You know what I mean? It was like, no, I want you to focus on this part. And then like I said, the day the fast was ending, he comes across my YouTube, and I find his book it's called From the Trash Man to the Cash Man. Both me and my brother have read that book. Like I read it in 2 days, and my brother read it like Monday. And now it's like I have this yearning to learn more about finances, to learn more about business. You know, like I said, I've been a full-time baker for the last 2 and some years, but I know that there is a shift that's happening. You know, there is a pivot that's happening, and you know, you're just waiting on that moment for like when God gives you that, okay, this is the next step, this is what we're doing. And I remember I was in worship the other day, and I heard keys, and I heard those keys while I was in worship, and I was like, Lord, I'm thankful for every door that you are about to open, everything that you have now, you know, given me access to, and then for me to be able to have the opportunity to even be on this podcast is absolutely mind-blowing to me, because I knew that I was going to be on this podcast from 2021. I knew that. And that's before I even had the thought about the book. That's before anything. It's like I knew that I was going to be on this podcast, and I thought that I would have probably have to go to Dallas or something. I don't know what I thought, but I was like, I know this is going to happen. And so said, so done, without me having to do anything. Here he comes to Nassau, and not only here he comes to Nassau, but here he comes to my church. Anyhow, it was just all divine planning, and I know that this is just another step in the right direction for my life. And I just want you to be encouraged. Like sometimes we don't see, well, not sometimes, we never see, you know, the full picture. We never get to see what the entire process looks like. But I want you to know to work in the process. I want you to enjoy the process. I have been, you know, like I said, been diligently working, diligently seeking, diligently serving over the last 2.5 years. And I will tell you that this has been the best 2.5 years that I've ever had. I've not been sitting here worrying about what's next. I've never been in this place depressed about, oh God, it's taking too long. But I have learned to live in the now. I've learned to be present in the moment. Like it's even gotten to the point where it's like even like lately over the last maybe a few months, like when I take myself out on dates, like I don't even post, I don't say nothing. I enjoy life. Life is sweet with Jesus. And I may not have all the money that I want. I may not be where I know God is taking me, but I know I have to go through this process. And I am so grateful that God is so gentle with me. And He is not just, giving me money, but He's changing my mindset. He is taking everything that could possibly hinder my progress. He is removing it away from me, because all good and perfect gifts come from God. And then we also have to remember that the blessings of the Lord make it rich and add absolutely no sorrow. And so God is going to make sure that you are equipped for the blessings that He has for you. He's going to make sure that you are equipped for those visions that He has given to you, those desires that He's placed on your heart, even when they seem like they are outlandish, even when it seems like it is impossible for you to even fathom it, because you've never seen anybody in your family do it, you've never seen anybody in your neighborhood, you've never seen anybody in your country. But He is the God of the impossible. All things are possible with Him. And so, I'm just in this moment, basking in this moment, thanking God in this moment, not just for, where I'm going to be financially, but thanking Him for the deliverance that's happening around me. Thank Him for the breakthrough that is happening with my family. Thank Him for everything that is happening for us. It is amazing. God is amazing. And He takes care of His own. And so be encouraged today. You may be in a transition, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to want more. It's okay to be frustrated with your now, because that could just be an indication that you've outgrown it. And it's only a matter of time until God shifts you and lifts you and catapults you into the place that He has ever predestined you to be. So y'all, this is your girl, Tracey Philippa. Like, subscribe, and share the channel. Be a part of the Purpose Sisters family. Y'all, I can't wait for my next. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for me, and I'm excited for you. So I love you. God bless you. Bye.